Aquarius. They counted you out because they couldn't see what was being written in secret about you. They thought the silence meant your story was over, but heaven was only changing your chapter. There are certain shifts in the spirit that arrive quietly, yet shake everything around you. And right now, one of those shifts has your name on it. Something divine has already been signed, sealed, and is now being dispatched into your life. This isn't an ordinary blessing, it's a sacred transfer. A transfer so massive it will rewrite the conversations about you in your own family. You've carried storms in silence. You've endured lack, delay, and misunderstanding. You've prayed with tired eyes and still whispered, "God, I trust you." And now the heavens have whispered back, "Aquarius, your waiting has matured. It's time." You are about to receive what generations before you couldn't hold. An inheritance of peace, a restoration of honor, a deposit of divine provision that will make even your doubters stand in awe. This is not a reward for perfection, it's the return on your endurance. Because heaven saw every tear you hid, every time you stayed kind when others were cruel, and every moment you chose to walk in light when darkness offered you shortcuts. Now the spiritual accounts are being balanced, the delay is being lifted, and the divine transaction has begun. In your favor. Aquarius, breathe. The waiting season has ended. The release season has begun. If you can feel it in your spirit that heaven is about to deposit something that will leave your family speechless, declare it right now in the comments. I receive my divine transfer. Because in the language of the Spirit, what you declare becomes what you inherit. And what's about to land in your life, no one can block, question, or undo. Aquarius. They saw your calmness, but they never saw the storm you had to walk through to find that calm. They saw your strength, but they didn't see how many nights you cried yourself back together just to face another day. People looked at you and assumed you were fine, but inside, you were fighting invisible battles that no one cared to ask about. You carried responsibilities that were too heavy for your shoulders, yet you did it without complaining. You gave love even when you were the one needing it most. You smiled while your heart was breaking. And through it all, you never lost faith, even when everything around you said, "It's over." Your life has appeared quiet, still, even delayed to the eyes of others. But what they called delay, heaven called development. While others were moving fast, you were being formed. You weren't being denied, you were being distilled into something purer, stronger, and more divine than before. Those lonely nights, those seasons of confusion, those times when doors kept closing, they weren't punishments. They were lessons. They were spiritual training grounds that prepared your hands to hold something greater. Heaven was testing your heart, not your speed. Because when the time comes for divine deposits, only a pure heart can manage them. So every disappointment, every rejection, every betrayal you faced was shaping you into someone who could handle what's coming without breaking under its weight. In those silent years, you were not abandoned. You were hidden, protected from people who might have stolen your blessing before it matured. While others were showing off their temporary gains, heaven was quietly writing your long-term story. Your family may have whispered, maybe Aquarius missed their moment. Maybe they should have settled. But heaven was smiling, saying, "Not yet. I'm still preparing the vault. I'm still multiplying the reward." Because gold isn't released while it's still impure. It takes heat, pressure, and patience. And you, Aquarius, have endured all three. That's why the next chapter of your life won't look like struggle. It will look like supernatural ease. You won't have to chase what's yours. It will be drawn to you. You won't have to explain your worth. It will speak for itself. And when this divine deposit finally reaches you, it won't just fill the gaps. It will overflow every empty space that pain once lived in. This isn't payback. This is promotion. It's heaven saying, for every silent tear, here's your harvest. And when it lands, Aquarius, those who once looked down on you will look up in awe, wondering how you rose so gracefully after everything that tried to bury you. Aquarius. You may not know this, but every moment of faith you ever showed has been carefully written down. Not in the ledgers of people, but in the divine account of heaven. While others were chasing applause, you were quietly building spiritual wealth that no one could see. You gave when you barely had enough for yourself. You forgave when bitterness would have been easier. You helped others rise, even when you were still finding your own footing. Each of those moments was not forgotten. Heaven recorded them all. Every silent prayer you made when your heart was heavy, every time you smiled through the pain so others wouldn't worry, every sacrifice, every act of kindness, every bit of generosity that came from a pure heart, all of it was credited under your name in the spiritual vault. And now, Aquarius, the balance has matured. The invisible account has reached fullness. The divine bankers have stamped your name with the word release. A transaction is being processed that has nothing to do with what you can earn, and everything to do with what you have already endured. But here's what makes this transfer mysterious. It's not just money. It's not just possessions or visible success. It's peace, the kind that no chaos can touch. It's favor, the kind that brings doors to your feet instead of you knocking. It's recognition, your name being mentioned with respect in places your feet have never even walked. Some will look at your rise and call it luck. They will try to reason with it, analyze it, or reduce it to chance. But deep inside you'll know, this is not random. This is a divine transaction, a heavenly reimbursement for every unseen good you've done. The world measures effort by results. Heaven measures effort by intention. That's why even the smallest seeds you planted with love are now returning as forests of blessings. While others flaunted their temporary gains, your true wealth was accumulating quietly. Every time you stayed patient instead of bitter, your account grew. Every time you trusted instead of complained, your account expanded. And now, the gates are open, and what has been accumulating in the unseen will begin to manifest in the seen. This is heaven saying, you didn't lose, you invested. Everything that seemed ignored was actually stored. And now, Aquarius, that invisible account, the one heaven has been nurturing on your behalf, is ready to pour out in a way that will make even your family stop and say, this had to be God. Because when this transfer arrives, it won't just change your situation. It will change how people see what faith can truly do. Aquarius, the shock won't only come from what arrives, it will come from who sees it happen. Because sometimes, heaven doesn't just bless you privately, it makes sure the ones who doubted you have a front row seat. Some of your own family thought you would always remain where you were. They mistook your silence for weakness, your humility for lack of ambition, and your peace for passivity. They didn't understand that you were not still, you were being positioned. You were not idle, you were being prepared. There were conversations you weren't invited to. There were celebrations you were excluded from. You were made to feel like the outsider in your own bloodline, as if the light inside you didn't matter. But heaven never took its eyes off you. The truth is, God often hides his strongest soldiers behind gentle spirits. You were hidden on purpose so that when your time came, there would be no confusion. No one could claim credit. Your rise will be so divinely orchestrated that it will silence every whisper and every doubt in one single moment. This transfer will not be loud in delivery, but it will be loud in impact. The blessings will unfold naturally. A new opportunity here, an open door there, a call that changes everything, a moment that turns your life around. And before you even realize it, you'll be walking in a reality that no one saw coming. Those who once said, Aquarius can't do it, will start to ask, how did they do it so fast? They will question, calculate, and compare. But they won't find logic in your elevation, because it won't come from human effort. It will be a deposit, directly from heaven, and you'll notice something beautiful, Aquarius. You won't even feel the need to prove anything. You won't have to say, look at me now. Your peace, your glow, your results, they will speak for you. Every area of your life will quietly reflect divine transformation. The car, the home, the peace, the joy, they will all arrive without noise, yet their presence will echo through your entire family line. Because this is not revenge. It's revelation. It's heaven saying, This is what happens when someone chooses faith over fear. So stand still and let your blessings speak, because soon, the same people who once doubted you will use your name as an example of what divine favor looks like. Aquarius. You've been asking yourself quietly, why now? Why me? Why is heaven choosing this exact moment to release what I've waited for so long? And the answer is not hidden in mystery, it's written in your endurance. Because your heart, Aquarius, passed the test. When life stripped you of comfort, you didn't lose your compassion. When you walked through loneliness, you still gave warmth to others. When you were betrayed, you forgave without an audience. When you were overlooked, you still showed up with excellence. And when people gave up, you kept believing, even when it hurt to hope. You didn't just pass time, you passed tests. Tests of patience, humility, and faith. Tests that most people fail when the waiting becomes long and the silence becomes heavy. But you stayed gentle when it would have been easier to grow bitter. You stayed kind when cruelty was fashionable. You kept believing when logic said, stop. That's why heaven chose you for this transfer. This release isn't an accident, it's alignment. It's heaven saying, now your character can hold what your hands have prayed for. Every delay had a purpose. Every not yet was protection. Had the blessing arrived earlier, it might have fallen into the wrong hands. Hands that would have wasted it, or hearts that would have turned it into pride. But you've grown. You've outgrown old circles, old habits, and old wounds. The people who once distracted you have been gently removed. The spaces that once drained your spirit have lost access to you. Now your discernment is sharper. Your spirit is cleaner. Your heart is wiser. You're not just receiving wealth. You're being trusted with wisdom to multiply it. You're not just being handed opportunity. You're being guided by alignment to manage it. You're not just being lifted financially. You're being prepared to lead spiritually. Because heaven never releases blessings without assigning responsibility. Each deposit carries a divine instruction. Each increase requires a higher level of awareness. That's why your thoughts will begin to change. Because your mind must match your mission. You'll find yourself becoming more selective with your energy. Where you once tried to explain yourself, you'll now protect your peace in silence. Where you once sought validation, you'll now crave vision. You'll stop chasing to be seen and start preparing to be sent. That shift in you is proof that the release is near. You no longer need people to agree with your path. You just need peace to walk it. Your desires will simplify. Less about appearance, more about purpose. Less about status, more about stability. Because the deeper your understanding grows, the clearer your calling becomes. Aquarius, the reason the release took this long is because heaven was waiting for your transformation. If the deposit had come when you were still healing, you would have spent it trying to prove something. But now, your heart is healed. You no longer need to prove, you just need to move. And when heaven detects that readiness, release becomes unavoidable. This blessing will not just lift you, it will realign your entire bloodline. You're not only receiving for yourself, you're becoming the channel for generational correction. The favor on your life will break family patterns of lack, limitation, and self-doubt. The wealth that's about to be deposited won't end with you. It will begin with you. That's why you had to be purified through delay. Because the mantle you carry isn't ordinary. And as the release begins, you'll notice subtle shifts in your world. Ideas will come that feel divinely timed. Opportunities will appear where doors were once locked. People of integrity will suddenly cross your path. You'll sense an invisible coordination, as if heaven itself is orchestrating every detail. This is the stage where God trusts you with what He couldn't give before. Not because you weren't worthy, but because you weren't ready. But now, your spirit has graduated. You've learned to walk by faith, not frustration. You've learned to wait without resentment. You've learned to love without expectation. And so now, heaven is confident that what is placed in your hands will remain pure in your heart. That's why this release will not only shock your family, it will humble them. because they will see in you the reflection of divine favor earned through endurance. So prepare your space, Aquarius. The spiritual transaction has already been approved. You're about to experience what happens when faith matures into manifestation, when patience turns into power, when hidden labor becomes public reward. And remember, this isn't just your blessing, it's your assignment, to hold it, to guard it, to grow it. Not for ego, but for legacy. Because heaven doesn't just give gifts to the willing, it releases abundance to the ready. And Aquarius, now, finally you are ready. Aquarius, when this transfer hits your life, it will not arrive quietly, though you'll move through it with quiet grace. It will not shout, yet its echo will reach places you've never stepped foot in. Because when heaven decides to showcase its work, it does so through results that cannot be ignored. Doors that once rejected you will open without you knocking. People who once dismissed you will suddenly remember your name. The same opportunities that once felt impossible will now feel inevitable. It will seem like your life is moving at supernatural speed. Not because you forced it, but because divine timing has activated. The blessings will not come one by one. They will arrive like waves, overlapping, rushing, and overflowing. A financial door will open, and at the same time, an emotional wound will heal. A new connection will arrive, and at the same time, old anxiety will fade. It will feel like heaven is rewriting every area of your life at once. Because that's exactly what's happening. This transfer will carry a shockwave of restoration. It will touch more than your bank account. It will touch your peace, your health, your reputation, and your relationships. Every area that once felt broken or delayed will experience sudden movement. You'll receive messages, calls, and invitations you had already released from your mind. Things you once chased will begin to chase you. People who couldn't recognize your value before will now seek your wisdom, your presence, your energy. And the most beautiful part? You won't feel pride. You'll feel peace, because deep down, you'll know who orchestrated it. This time, it won't feel like luck. It will feel like divine justice, wrapped in grace. You'll look around and realize everything is connected. Every rejection had a reason. Every loss made room for something bigger. Every delay was heaven's way of ensuring your blessing arrived untainted. And your family, the same ones who once doubted your potential, will see the evidence of what faith can do. They'll ask questions. How did you manage this? Who helped you? What changed? And all you'll be able to say is, I stopped trying to control everything, and I trusted divine timing. Aquarius, the power of this blessing will not just transform your life, it will awaken belief in others. Your glow will be undeniable, but it won't come from material things. It will come from the peace that can't be faked. From the calm in your eyes that says, I've seen storms, and I've survived them all. Do not hide your blessing, but do not flaunt it either. Let your peace be your proof. Let your glow be your announcement. Let your consistency speak louder than your possessions. Heaven's strategy has always been quiet preparation before loud manifestation. That's why you had so many silent years, years that felt empty but were secretly sacred. Now, heaven is striking on your behalf. The vaults are open. The timing is perfect. And nothing, not jealousy, not gossip, not fear, can interrupt what has already been approved for your name. The shock will not just be for your family, it will be for everyone who ever underestimated you, because this is what divine elevation looks like. It's graceful, it's precise, and it's unstoppable. You're entering a chapter where results will speak for you. You won't need to convince, prove, or explain. Your presence will carry the vibration of answered prayers. And when people look at you, they'll see what it means to be chosen for overflow. So Aquarius, stand tall. You've survived the hidden years. You've endured the refining fire. Now comes the release. The sound of heaven moving on your behalf. Because this transfer, this sacred deposit, isn't coming to make noise. It's coming to make history. And when it arrives, even your silence will sound like a miracle. Aquarius, you finally reached the moment when heaven begins to cash in every unseen prayer you ever whispered. The waiting, the wondering, the tears you thought were wasted. none of them disappeared into nothing. They became spiritual currency, quietly gathering interest in divine time. And now, the release has begun. Right now, the angels assigned to your name are moving. They're carrying divine documents, approvals, contracts, opportunities, invitations, and miracles that realign your destiny. What was once delayed is being delivered. What was once stuck is being signed, and everything meant for you is now being stamped, released to Aquarius. This transfer isn't just about comfort, it's about calling. It's not only to make your life easier, but to make your purpose louder. You are being positioned as a vessel of divine provision, a walking reminder that faith still works, that patience still pays, and that heaven never forgets the faithful. When your family sees what's about to unfold, they will say, "This can't be ordinary." And they'll be right. It's not ordinary, it's ordained. You've stepped into the season of supernatural confirmation, where every doubt turns into evidence. This is the moment where you no longer have to chase. Things will now come looking for you. Peace will meet you at the door. Favor will recognize your name, and blessings will begin to flow from unexpected directions, through people you didn't know were connected to your destiny. Aquarius, you've endured the silence, you've faced the tests, and you've walked through the refining fire. Now heaven is placing the seal of approval on everything that was promised to you. This is your deposit released moment, the divine transaction where unseen promises finally become visible realities. If this message stirred your spirit, type this in the comments and declare your faith aloud. I'm ready for my heaven-approved transfer. Because when you speak it, you claim it. And when you claim it, you align yourself with it. Breathe, Aquarius. Your struggle was never in vain. Your time wasn't wasted, it was invested. This is the hour where heaven cashes in on everything you endured, and you finally begin to see the proof of divine timing. Stay grounded, stay grateful, and stay open. Because your story, the one that began in silence, is about to speak louder than words. Your family, your friends, even your past will have to admit, this was not man-made. This was heaven-made. And as you step into this next chapter, remember, it's already being written in gold. You're not chasing blessings anymore. You are the blessing. So lift your head, breathe deeply, and know the deposit has been made. Heaven has released what belongs to you. And now, the world is about to witness what divine favor truly looks like. Subscribe, stay connected, and prepare your spirit, because the next chapter of your life will be the one that leaves everyone, including your past, speechless.